ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. To the one who came to establish spirituality, one who is the personification of all faiths and religions, one who is the foremost embodiment of the divine, to that Ramakrishna I offer my salutations. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Welcome. Today, the topic of our discussion is Sri Ramakrishna as a disciple. This week, actually, the Janmatithi, the birthday of Sri Ramakrishna, we are going to celebrate on 19th. And the next morning, next Sunday, there will be a detailed puja, elaborate puja, there will be prasad distribution. And so this week, it's some kind of, we call special service that we'll try to think on Sri Ramakrishna through our mind. We'll offer puja with our using these vocal organs, using our ears and mind. The title, as I already told, Sri Ramakrishna as a disciple. Sri Ramakrishna as a master, we know. There is even if you read Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, in English translation, of course, Bengali it is Sri Ramakrishna with that name, mainly the compiler of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. He wrote address Sri Ramakrishna as Sri Ramakrishna or Thakur. But in English, that is master. Master means Sri Ramakrishna. And the translation of the book Sri Sri Ramakrishna Lila Prasanga by Swami Shivarchanananda, when it was first translated in 1940s or 50s, by, maybe 40s probably, or 30s, by Swami Jagadananda. So he gave the name the Great Master, Sri Ramakrishna, the Great Master. And very recently, with lucid English, modern English, our Swami Chaitanyaji Maharaj, he translated that one, Sri Ramakrishna and his Divine Play, the same book. But generally, we think Sri Ramakrishna, we adore Sri Ramakrishna as a master, a spiritual teacher. Not only Sri Ramakrishna, all the great prophets of history of religion, spirituality, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, Rama. So we consider him, always look them as master. But there is a childhood of the master also. So here we'll try to meditate upon, contemplate upon, before you gain the mastery of any skill, of any subject, anything in this world, you must be a good student first. So today mainly, there are almost 200 pages in Sri Ramakrishna and his Divine Play, that book, that in Bengali, Sri Sri Ramakrishna Lila Prasanga, written by Swami Shivarchanananda, one of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, is a great book, but before starting that, you need some kind of preparation. It deals with subtle world, subtle truths, trying to avoid all those miraculous facts, to put his life in a logical way, so that rational modern human being, they can question and understand. They can compare with the modern development of that material science. It's a great book, and there are more than 200 pages discussing about Sri Ramakrishna as a spiritual aspirant. And in that book, and here is a book, and another thing, in I think 29th March 1900, Swami Vivekananda gave a lecture in San Francisco, and title of the lecture was Discipleship. So I tried to put it side by side, taking the frame or the structure from Swami Vivekananda and the material from Swami Sharadananda. So let us start today's discussion. We'll try, and these lectures actually sometimes it acts as an introduction. When and general the weekdays, all those classes, we can go deeper, informal way. You ask question, but we need introduction also. So let us start. So in that book, okay, in that lecture, Swami Vivekananda, he starts like that. He started like that. The first line of his lecture was, "An old proverb of India comes to my mind." Oh, it is not the first line, sorry. Before that, a few lines were there, 3-4 lines. So he, in the first line, he told like that, it is not easy to place the or share the subject of discipleship in the West, because there are, when the exact word for disciple is shishya, guru, shishya. Shishya is the the disciple, the student, and guru is the teacher. So when you utter the word disciple in Eastern standpoint, it brings a lot of ideas with that. So then he started with the humble words. I will try to do that. So next he is telling, an old proverb of India comes to my mind. There are hundreds of thousands of teachers, but it is hard to find one disciple. So he started like that. Everyone wants to be a teacher. Nobody is ready to be a student. It seems to be true. The one important thing in the attainment of spirituality is the attitude of the people, of the pupil, of the student. When the right attitude is there, illumination comes easily. Then he goes on that if you ask, how long does it take to remove the ignorance? He told that in a second, the dream is gone. When you get up from your bed, when you woke up, bas, illusion gone. All those imaginary things you were watching in your dream state, it's gone. But it is not so easy also at the same time. For a student, it takes years after years. So then he says, yet it seems difficult to realize this self-evident truth. Ages and ages pass before we begin to catch a faint glimpse of it. God is life, God is truth. So that is the truth, but we do not understand. No? So truth is there. When you woke up from your dream, you realize, you see, everything is God. Nothing else is there, only God. So God and life is not about something else. God, another name of God is life. Life is equal to God. And truth is equal to God. So God is another name for truth and life. That is the truth. But it takes time to understand. We write about this, we feel in our inmost heart that this is so, that everything else, that God is nothing, Here today, here today, gone tomorrow, and yet most of us remain the same all through life, no change. Somewhere, where I was reading, so this Sunday, this lecture and sometimes prayer is just like exercise of lip muscles. Nothing else. Nothing is entering inside. Nothing. So then he put it in a Vedantic way. If you read Vedanta, there are some qualities you need. You need viveka, the discernment. You need vairagya, the dispassion. You need sixfold inner wealth. Shama, that is mind control. Dhamma, that is sense control. Uparati, that is withdrawal from this world, capacity to withdraw your mind whenever you like. It is not that world will command you, hear me, listen me, not like that, see me, not like that. You will decide whether you want to see, you want to hear or not. Withdrawal, uparati. Then titiksha, forbearance. Then shraddha, faith in your teacher. Samadhana, one-pointedness, focus. So now, keeping in this all those things in our mind, we'll take help of Swami Sharadananda now. And time to time, we'll take help of Swami Vivekananda also. And that lecture, it is not a big lecture, 5 or 6 pages, but sometimes you feel Swami was so rude. Without any, I think that day he was in a fiery mood, Swamiji, that day. Without any, courtesy, he was saying that, uttering the truth, whether you like it or not. So you can find it, I think it is in a 4th volume of Complete Works of Swami Vivekananda. But nowadays internet is, everything is available. You can just type Discipleship by Swami Vivekananda, delivered in San Francisco on March 29th, 1900. It can help you to start. But I am saying the words are fiery, were fiery. You may not say. And he was talking about Diksha, initiation. He was talking about fiery baptism. It is not that baptism just only water. It's about fire that will purify yourself. We call it in Hindi or Sanskrit Agni Diksha, with fire. It will burn all of your impurities when you start your practice. And about practice, we always have to keep in mind the goal is not important. The process is important. We make our mind restless when you think about goal too much. We have to believe in process. You are overlooking the process, but thinking why it is not happening. How it will happen? You have to go through the process. Sharadanandaji, he noticed that with the exception of Buddha and Chaitanya, there are no detailed accounts of the avatara spiritual practices in the religious history of the world. You read Bible, you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, if you want to read the life of Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, the saint, the avatara we believe, or everywhere, or maybe Gita, or maybe Bhagavata. Where is that spiritual practice of Rama or Krishna or Jesus? You will not find. So he noticed that. Only Buddha little bit you can get. So in all their life stories, we cannot find any detailed descriptions of their exuberant passion or of the zeal with which they must have struggled to attain the truth, or of how they were carried away in their spiritual journeys by hope and hopelessness, fear and awe, and joy and longing. Surely they were sometimes elated and other times depressed, but they never let their focus waver from the goal. Then he spent a few pages on that. Why it is important to read that part of their life. Out of compassion. Many times when we discussed about, even a few days ago, um, on 25th December, 25th December probably, on that connection we're discussing. Out of compassion, God assumes a human form to help us. It is a love. It's a love that He came to show us, to inspire us. So when we read that, we can see He is also struggling and showing the way. But there is a difference between the struggle that we'll try to discuss. But we have seen that, but they never let their focus waver from the goal. In addition, it is difficult to trace the natural cause and effect relationship between the amazing actions performed in the latter part of their lives and the education, enthusiasm, and actions of their early years. For example, it is not clear how Krishna, the darling of the gopis of Vrindavan, was transformed into the Krishna of Dwaraka, the king. It's not clear, it's not written at least. The reviver of religion. Moreover, only a few episodes are known about the great life of Jesus before he reached the age of 30. And only the stories of Shankara's, that is Adi Shankaracharya, Shankara's conquest of other philosophical schools are recorded in detail. So it is with all the other avatars. It's common. Why it happened? Then he tried to figure out. It is just assuming, trying to. Maybe, perhaps, those details about the avatars means incarnation of God. Again and again, just we are following that book, that word will come. Those details about the avatars were not recorded because of excessive devotion. The writers, the followers, they are admirers of that teacher, the devotee. They thought out of devotion, why should we write that part? Perhaps they considered it justifiable to conceal any perceived imperfections from the public gaze. You see, he used that perceived imperfection. It is not maybe truly imperfections, but maybe it is imperfection. Number 3, or it may be that devotees felt that humanity would benefit more by embracing the highest ideals embodied by the beautiful, perfect characters of great souls than by knowing how they arrived at those ideals through superhuman efforts. Thus, devotees may have considered it is unnecessary to record avatars' spiritual practices. Maybe that is the reason. Or maybe they didn't have the sufficient information, maybe. Because after about Sri Ramakrishna also everything we didn't get, not everything. Because when these direct disciples came to Sri Ramakrishna, it was 1980s. And all those things mainly generally happened between 1955 to at the earlier part, 1855, when he came to Dakshineshwar, and before that also something it was happening, and an early part of 1870s. So, but luckily he realized, he means the disciples, they were very rational. I hope all those direct disciples were very rational, be it the companion of Jesus or Buddha. So they had always a mood of researcher. They wanted to figure out. So, but you know about the spiritual life, it is not it should not be in a public domain. It is a very personal relationship between you and your beloved God. You do not like to put everything here. No, it is me and mine. Very personal kind of thing. So it was. It has been always difficult to find it out. But they tried. Something they got from Hridayaram. Something they went to Kamarpukur, the birthplace of Sri Ramakrishna. Still, a few villagers were alive to give some information. And there were many employees at the Dakshineshwar garden house. From them they got some kind of idea. But we have to remember, from the employers, villagers, they were not Sri Ramakrishna. What they perceived, They shared. Okay. Now, okay, next point he told that when devotees think not to, put all those things in their biography, means perceived imperfection, their struggle and all those things. He is saying devotees arrive at such conclusions because of their own weaknesses. Perhaps they do not like to attribute human struggles and motives to avatars because such an adverse view might diminish their own devotion. You have to think. That's why I am saying that book is not it is very deep kind of study you need. You need time. After every line, you have to meditate what he told. But at some point we have to share all those things. So I am trying to put all those things all together. So, and then he told, we have nothing to say in criticism of them. When devotion is at immature stage, such weakness is observed in a devotee. My devotion will be diminished. On immature state, you think like that. At the early stage of devotion, a devotee cannot imagine God as being devoid of power. Oh, God without power, what kind of thing? But again, a object, a point to be contemplated. Think about Yashoda. Think about the gopis of Vrindavan. Yashoda was the foster mother of Krishna in Vrindavan. She saw multiple times many miraculous kind of thing. Sri Krishna, he opened his mouth, he ate, just a little boy, what they do. And especially here, I cannot say that, everything is covered with carpet, but thousands of years ago it was not like that. It was not, that much carpet was not available. So Krishna took little soil and put in his mouth. And what you put in your mouth, open your mouth, Yashoda told. And when he opened his mouth, Yashoda saw the whole universe is there. So, and many other things were there. But experienced various divine manifestation of child Krishna every day. And yet she nurtured and disciplined him as her own son. Otherwise, how, you are after all a mother. You have the responsibility. So sometimes you have to tie him with the rope also, so that he cannot roam here and there. Sometimes beating. So, and again, the gopis, cowherd girls, knew that Krishna was the creator of the universe, yet they could think of him only as their beloved. There are many such instances in the scriptures. So it shows that when you're with the maturity of devotion, you do not like the power of God. Rather, you love the sweetness of God. No, the purity of that of their heart. That you like. The manifestation of the knowledge you love. The manifestation of compassion you love to think. No. Okay. Now he goes on. I cannot. We learn from there, when we read all those things, we learn that value of enthusiasm and self-effort. If you do not properly use the power, there's a story. Sri Ramakrishna would always say, you see, grace is there, but it is very important to honor the value of self-effort. You have to do something. You are nothing doing, just like process. You have to go through the process. Then he would share a story between Narada and Vishnu. Narada, probably all of you probably know the name, a great devotee of Vishnu. So the story goes like that. Sri Ramakrishna, he told that story. Once Vishnu, who lives in heaven, cursed Narada, just a story, cursed Narada that he would have to suffer in hell for some reason. Narada was worried. Oh, it has a command from my God, I have to go to hell for Naraka. goal. So what to do? He praised the Lord with hymns to please him, then said, Lord, please be gracious enough to tell me where hell is. I do not know where actually I have to go. I don't need to know. Then I can hire a cab. So please show me where it is. How many types of hell exist? Is that only one type of hell or many other? I am curious to know. Vishnu then drew heaven, earth, and hell on the ground with a piece of chalk and said, here is heaven and here is hell. Narada said, is that so? In that case, then my suffering in hell is now over. While saying this, he rolled over the chalk mark presenting the hell and bowed down to Lord. He rolled over of that drawing and told that in that case, my suffering is in hell is now over. And he bowed down to the Lord. Vishnu said with a smile, what? How could you suffer in hell? Narada replied, why not, Lord? You have created heaven and hell. When, as you drew, you said, this is hell. That spot truly became hell. As I rolled over it, my suffering was completed. Then Sri Ramakrishna concluded, Narada uttered these words with wholehearted faith. That's important. It was not a pretense. God has created heaven and hell in whatever it is. He also created that one. When he told this is hell, it is hell. Having genuine faith in him, Narada had only to roll over that mark representing hell. That small effort ended his suffering. Sometimes, with the help of this story, the Master explained to us that in the domain of grace, there is room for both enthusiasm and self-effort. Even great devotee like Narada had to do some kind of spiritual practice. That much he had to do. And what we can learn? Many things we can learn. Assuming human bodies, by taking on human imperfections, avatars discovered paths to liberation. When you assume, when they embrace this imperfection, and there is a Sanskrit word, naralila, narobat. When you act as a human being, you have to follow all human traits, their manners, their suffering. When you assume the body, you have to take. Then sometimes they would talk about Rama, the God himself. But he cried for Sita. They had to do all those things. Krishna, he was born in a prison. They had to all those things. Jesus cross. Had to do. So, assuming human bodies and living like human beings, avatars to a great extent experience our short-sightedness and limited knowledge. Like us, they must struggle to discover a path to liberation from all those limitations. Until that path is discovered, the awareness of their divine nature sometimes manifests itself within, but only momentarily. A veil then covers it up. Thus, for the good of many, they accept the veil of Maya and, like us, grope along the path in this realm of light and darkness. That's why they find out modern solution for modern problem. That's why it is the importance. There are many stories, real incidents are there. Probably in somewhere in US, well, long ago I heard that one. One gentleman, probably in America, entered in a library, was looking for some books. Suddenly he found that Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. So he found, what is this? The known Gospel, the Gospel according to John, Luke, everything was there. He knew Gospel from where it came. So he opened the book and he could not stop it. He sat down in the floor and started reading all those things. So why? Those words are connected with modern problem. No. So from where, how? We have to put in a logical way. So avatara, teacher, facing new problems. But there are many uniqueness in him. We'll go one by one, slowly. Where it really, sometimes in Avatara, what is the thing? Something you can understand, something you have to leave. You cannot handle that part, beyond your intellect something. Huh? But they are, anyhow. So what, but they easily find out the path, new path. Why? Because they do not have a trace of selfish desire. I put it in bold font. This is the line suddenly you discover. Sardhani wrote. Why they get the success too quickly? Because they do not have a trace of selfish desire. Nothing he is doing for himself. Nothing. Jesus, nothing for personal benefit. Krishna, nothing for personal benefit. Ram, nothing for personal benefit. No, that part is common. That is the strength they have. So number one, they see as they do not have, they didn't have, or I should say present tense sometimes. Because they are always present. They are not figures from past. They are present. They are working with us to help us. So as they didn't have this personal desire, selfish desire, what happened? Number one, they see more light during their spiritual journey than we see in ours. Number two, they focus all of their energy in one direction and quickly solve life's problems. Afterwards, they devote themselves to doing good to humanity. So what we learn from them? As we will succeed to remove our personal hidden motives, we also get quickly that more light in your spiritual journey. That is learning. Number two, what is? They focus all of their energy in one direction quickly to solve any problem. That's why they see we are trying, but getting no light. But why? From where they are getting so much light? Because they can put their whole energy in a point. They can focus that one. So this one you can learn. Sometimes we may think his lifelong effort was nothing but a matter of show. That is not all. His effort, steadfastness, and renunciation, which he applied in his life for God realization, may cause terrible apathy in our hearts instead of encouraging us to emulate them. And in this life, we will not then be able to overcome inertia. Any knowledge, in the path of any knowledge, in a spiritual life or anything, they are inertia. If you need to overcome that inertia first. So if you think everything it is a pretense, so from where you will get the joy, the enthusiasm? No, everything will become that meaningless. Avatar, there are many uniqueness also. The coexistence of divine and human aspects in the master that we saw. Sardhananji wrote. Two aspects, the divine aspects and human aspect. Blessed by the gracious company of the Holy Master, we contemplate his life and character, and more we do so, the more we are overwhelmed by the wonderful coexistence of divine and human characteristics in him. Without seeing him, we could never have understood how it was possible for such contrary aspects to coexist harmoniously in one person. There are many incidents. Like as human aspect. When he broke his hand, he's asking everyone, when I can get rid of that? When I get rid? And just like one of his disciples, that we are talking about that immature devotion, he was just only teenage boy. He told, okay, Avatara broke his hand. or maybe the cancer, that kind of. So he told, you are a saint, you have to cover it up. You should not show in public. You have broken his hand. So, but Sri Ramakrishna, he was very sincere. He was asking doctor, when I can, will get rid of that, asking him. And there are many. And other side, let me show. It was, I think, probably Yoginma, most probably. That time Sri Ramakrishna was alone, sitting in his room, and probably eating something. He was sitting and the plate was there. When she entered, he found Sri Ramakrishna is sitting apparently with a bigger form, with a luminous body. Nobody was there, luminous body. He thought from heaven some godly creature has come, some god came and is sitting here. So that part also there. So they have seen many that kind of many incidents. Because we lived with him, we realized that he never feigned any of these aspects. He truly took on a human nature in order to do good to humanity. And we can think of his marriage also. When he returned to Kamarpukur, and they were trying to find a good girl for him, and they are trying, looking for. And those days in India, now it is still happening. You have some kind of what you call marriage broker. What you call some kind. So you try a different person. Do you know some girl like that? And they are trying, but getting nobody. Then Sri Ramakrishna, out of nothing, he told, go to Ramchandra Mukherjee's house. There, the girl is fixed that with whom I is going to marry. You see? Interesting. And again, it is written in Ramakrishna Puthi. Sri Ramakrishna was very happy because that marriage ceremony was coming soon. He very happy. And but in that happiness, it was just like there's an innocence of a boy. Something is going to happen in their house. It happens like before a birthday party. Our little kids, our son and daughter, they become happy. Where they start inviting their friend from their school and all. It was like that. So, interesting. When avatars, avatars do not even the slightest trace of selfish desire. They have no wish to enjoy sensory pleasures here or hereafter, or any intention of enjoying infinite bliss by liberating themselves while disregarding the fate of others in the world. The primary object of their spiritual quest is to investigate the unknown divine power that has helped them from their birth. They have seen. Does that power by which they experience unique ecstasies and perceive divine forms in the realm of ideas to be as real as anything in the gross world truly exist? Now, one incident coming in my mind about Holy Mother, Sarada Devi. So sometimes he was a young girl staying in Jairambati with her mother. So as a village girl, she had to do many kind of daily household chores, like cutting grass for the cows. You have to do all those things. So occasionally she would see when she would go to some kind of some lowland and cutting that grasses and piling up at the corner of that kind of thing. She would see another girl, all looking like her, already cut some kind of grass and kept in the proper place. Who is that? Who was that? Again, when she was in Kamarpukur, she was very shy. So the Kamarpukur, the pond, there's a pond, Haldarpukur. The Kamarpukur is the name of the village, and Haldarpukur, Pukur means pond, water tank, and Haldarpukur was the name of the tank. So only 5 minutes walk. So, but she was so shy that should I go alone? You need one friend to go. With girls it happens. You have to talk a little bit, sharing all that. So nobody. But at that point, she would see that 8 girls from nowhere came, 4 are walking before him, and 4 would follow her. So this is a strange kind of incident, but they took it very naturally. So here, that's pointing out to all those incidents, Saradananda ji is writing, that to investigate the unknown divine power that has helped them from their birth, does that power by which they experience unique ecstasies and perceive divine forms in the realm of ideas to be as real as anything in the gross world truly exist? All those things are very real to them. Or is it a mere fabrication of their own imagination? They are logical. So is that something is happening in my brain? Are they true? I have to investigate all those things. By comparing their knowledge and experiences with those of ordinary people, they soon realize that others do not perceive the world as they do. Swami Vivekananda, in his childhood, it happens with many of us actually. Something. So, before going to sleep, he would see some kind of light in his forehead. He would think that all of his friends experience same kind of thing. Only coming to, when he came to Sri Ramakrishna, he learned in an advanced stage of meditation, you generally have all those kind of indication, some visions. So by comparing their knowledge and experiences with these of ordinary people, they soon realize that others do not perceive the world as they do. Other people are almost completely without the ability to see the world from a higher plane of consciousness. Here is a clue for us teaching. So we are talking about two planes of existence. In Bengali he wrote Deva Bhumi and Manava Bhumi. Deva Bhumi means that higher level of consciousness, means, how to say in practical, Einstein, take us, Einstein, anytime he can put his mind with subtle truths of science, no? His mind is already there. But for us, we have to finish some 10 books to understand all those things, to prepare ourselves. No. So it's about everything. Maybe a musician just can hold a Spanish guitar and start a brilliant kind of some piece of music. For us, we have to learn from beginning. So it is not something miraculous I'm talking about. In any field of knowledge, with time you get some skill. So we are talking now inner world. So that inner world, subtle world, we are talking about, we are addressing as Deva Bhumi, the higher plane, the subtle plane. For 20 years we were thinking about that. And somebody is just now started. So there will be difference. Now, what to learn? When avatars compare themselves with ordinary people, they realize that seemingly sweet yet fleeting sense objects cannot tempt them as they do others in this transient life. This is because avatars see the world from both the human and divine planes of consciousness. The thick clouds of despondency and unrest that arise under different circumstances in this ever-changing world cannot cover their mind. The clouds of as an ordinary human being, we fight with problems. So despair comes, despondency comes. It covers our mind. We become subject of all those afflictions. Because we are just like confined in that ordinary level. But for them, as they saw that beyond this mortal world, there is something. For them, okay, it will go. So it cannot overwhelm them. Do you understand the difference? Just like again, that example time to come, it comes in a school. Your son or daughter, after a bad examination, became disappointed, sad. But being mom or dad, what do you do? Beta, ye khatam ho jayega. Huh? My dear, it will finish. Life is not only that much that just you can compare. Because you have seen from another 20 or 30 years more from your son and daughter. You can handle that one very easily. But for the little fellow, that little child, that is all for them. So what we learn, so we have to, in spiritual practice, so that's why it's so important. When we talk about, try to sit morning, evening, as much as time you can give. When good, auspicious, like today Shivaratri, birthday, try to, if you have time, sit more time and think about it. Why? Because that will help you to rise your mind to that other plane also. Then all those things you can, more with ease, more comfort, we can handle all those things. So this is the learning from, again, there, Sri Ramakrishna as a spiritual aspirant. Why we should read them. So everything we cannot read, that's why classes are there. Try to attend classes. Okay. Now, one unique thing. Let us discuss a little unique thing about Sri Ramakrishna. Swamiji once told, যত উচ্চ তোমার হৃদয় তত দুঃখ জানিহ নিশ্চয়. If as noble as your mind is, you will feel more suffering. A statement, a great statement. We think that the spiritual people, their heart of should know. It's not like that. When that you can connect yourself more with the suffering. Let me give one example. Swami Vivekananda was in Belur Math, teaching Vedas, Upanishad to his disciples. Then in that scene came the great Girish Ghosh. The Girish Ghosh, he himself is a class. He came. We say he was the father of, one of the fathers of Bengali theatre, that much, who do not know anything, just let me say. And he had many bad habits, drinking, anything, but he was genius at the same time. He had a great faith. So with that much, we do not have much time to say. So Girish Ghosh came. Girish Ghosh saw Swamiji is teaching Vedas, Upanishads to his students. And Girish Ghosh had some idea. They have, because the disciples, I am talking about at the end part, last phase of Swami Vivekananda's life. So all those disciples, they always would remember the caution, that alarming sentence that Sri Ramakrishna told. If Narendra realize who he really is, he will renounce his body and go to his eternal abode. So always disciples means direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, brother monks of Sri Ramakrishna. They would always try to bring down Swamiji's mind. That's another reason. So Girish Ghosh came, and suddenly he was busy with teaching. He told, Hey Naren, oh dear Naren, do you have anything to say that what we read in newspaper daily? Torture on some widow, all those things. Their fight, and these poor people, they do not have food to fill their stomach, all those things. I want to ask you, is there a solution in their Upanishad and Veda? Is there a solution for that? As he told that one, Swamiji's eyes become full of tears. And he left that to hide himself. He left that place and went to the veranda. Then Girish Ghosh continued to the students who are sitting there. They are mainly young monks and some householders. You see, why I respect Naren, that is Swami Vivekananda. It's not for his great intelligence, his wisdom. I respect Naren for his heart. So with that background, we can understand that statement. Sri Ramakrishna is saying that when one studies human nature, it becomes obvious that the higher a person's mind rises, the more intense is the pain caused by subtle desires. A person who has committed theft, deceit, or adultery many times can repeat those acts without suffering any pangs of guilt. We have seen everywhere. Committing again and again. Nothing kind of, guilt, nothing, doing again and again. But a noble and high-minded person feels terribly guilty and suffers from great distress when merely thinking of those heinous acts. Although throughout their lives avatars refuse to indulge in the enjoyment of gross sensual objects, they fight against subtle desires the same as the rest of us. Those horrible images of desire that arise in their minds cause them distress 1,000 times greater than that which we suffer. This they frankly admit. And not only that, that what is to re-establish that what is written in scriptures, all those things are true. Just for example, when we do regular worship, there is a step in regular worship in Hindu way. There a person called Papa Purusha. How to say that? That's some kind of evil spirit. Evil spirit means that evil spirit is took the form out of all those bad qualities, all those sins. It creates, it took a form, a shape of a evil spirit. So Papa Purusha, that is there. Or maybe somewhere I read nice in pleasure loving, or that pleasure loving, that that our those intentions, if it took a form, it is Papa Purusha. Always without thinking about right wrong. So that only creates sin. No. If you look only for pleasure, not for anything else, it creates sins. So that Papa Purusha. So when Sri Ramsa told, when I performed spiritual disciplines and worship according to scriptural directions, I used to think that the Papa Purusha, that evil spirit within me, had been burnt. In the step of the ritual, there is that you are think like that. The Papa Purusha, and how by step you are getting rid of that. You kill the Papa Purusha, and thus your body and mind become pure. There is no sin now. There are steps, beautiful. They are a object of meditation, beautiful. So, but I truly saw that. Who knew then that a Papa Purusha dwells in every human body and that it could be truly burnt and destroyed? In the beginning of sadhana, I felt a burning sensation in my body. I thought, what kind of disease is this? Gradually, it increases in severity until it became unbearable. I applied various medicated oils, but to no avail. Later on, I was seated in the Panchavati one day, and suddenly I saw a terrible-looking, red-eyed man of black complexion come out of this body, that's pointing to himself, and begin to stumble about in front of me like a drunkard. The next moment, I saw a handsome person emerge from this body, wearing an ochre cloth and holding a trident in his hand. He violently attacked the terrible person and killed him. And from that point on, the burning sensation diminished. Prior to this, I had suffered from that burning continually for 6 months. So there are two things. It's a good part of it. Taking a form, and with a ochre cloth, all renouncing. Ochre cloth means it is a sign of renouncing this worldly view. It is not the world, worldly view. You see this world as a manifestation of God. That is that purpose of having a ochre cloth. So wearing with a ochre cloth, with a trident in hands, after a fight, that person killed that Papa Purusha, evil spirit. So it goes on. And he says, Many times I have seen that another person, like a young monk. I saw many times that young monk. And about that he's saying, one day while he was telling us about the experiences and visions he had during sadhana, the master said, Saradananji is writing, a young monk exactly resembling me would come out of my body and instruct me in all matters. Sometimes, when he would emerge from me, I would have a little outer consciousness, and other times I would lose it altogether and become inert. I would watch his movements and listen to him speak. He would give the advice. Later, at some occasion, we can discuss all those things maybe. So he told it is his only Sri Ramakrishna's pure mind, nothing. We talk about your pure mind will become your guru. So it was the proof. So a lot of discussions are there. Sarada is saying Sri Ramakrishna's own mind, when he became absolute pure, it was acting as a guru and taking a different shape. And then Sri Ramakrishna is saying, the Brahmani and Totapuri only reiterated the spiritual teachings that I had heard from him. They taught me what I had already learned. It seems that they came into my life as gurus in order that respect for the injunctions of the scriptures would be maintained. No other purpose can be found for my acceptance of Totapuri and others as gurus. And in later part, in his life came Bhairavi Brahmani, who taught him formally that Vaishnava Tantras, Vaishnava, Tantras mean tantric rituals, tantric path, Vaishnava, some spiritual practices. Then came Totapuri, many Jatadhari. There are many gurus. Gurus mean teachers. They came in his life. And he is saying, I saw they actually taught me already what I got from that young monk. So it seems that that all the scriptures say that you need a guru to support, to establish that truth, that all of these people came. So we do not have much time. So let us keep for another occasion. And I would request, it is many pages, 200 pages, but with sincere heart, that's a great book. Of course, you need some kind of preparation before starting that, but you have already. You are coming here to sitting for 1 hour, already you have that competence. So let us conclude today's talk with a pranam to Sri Ramakrishna. Om Niranjanam Nityam Anantarupam Bhaktanukampa Dhritavigraham Vai Ishavatarang Parameshamidyam Tang Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namami. Salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the incarnation of the Supreme Lord, who is worshipped by all and is the perfect embodiment of the eternal truth, manifesting in various forms to guide and help mankind. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.